yeah, I'm a chartered accountant. I went into practice 2012. By 2015, formed the company that I'm in now. My background is after qualifying with one of the big four with PwC, I went into investment banking. Right there for like 5 or 6 years, and I wanted to step away from that and work with smaller businesses, but bring them the finance expertise that big businesses have. So I've had experience with that in banks I've worked at and in PwC, and basically being online was key to that, because we couldn't be everywhere our clients are, but if we were online and our clients were online, then we could really collaborate, work really closely together with them. So yeah, in 2015 we set up Jong Phillips and specialised with working with agencies, so creative agencies, also market research agencies as well. Actually, anyone that sort of sells their people like skills to other businesses, and yeah, we've been fully digital since then. We've worked just with zero, and we act as our clients' full finance function. So we do everything you'd expect an in-house finance team to do. We do for them, but remotely. It's it's absolutely pivotal to everything. Like it helps us, but like kind of that's a separate thing. So I'll come back to how it helps us. But it helps us help our clients, because we can, if our clients, there's two parts of it. One is them having them on the cloud, so that we've got access to their data and they've got access to their data. So that's the first part. Another part is having that data up to date and meaningful. And so making sure that what they're looking at is current and not a year out of date, and is accurate. So that what that enables us to do is when a client phones up saying, I want to buy this property, I want to hire a new person, we can just jump straight in. Like, yeah, you can afford to do that. We can do a cash flow forecast. You can spend this much money, and you're not going to have any concerns. Or actually, look, this is going to be a bit of a worry. You might want to sort out funding, and we can plug you into some sources of funding. Or in fact, if you tweak sort of some of your payment terms that your clients are paying you, you'll get in some more cash. So we can be really actively involved. So super collaborative and dynamic, I suppose. If our clients are offline and they phone up and say that, right, we'd have to be like, right, well, let's figure out where you are now. So we'll have a bit of a scurrying around exercise to gather up your data, see what it is, get it into a good shape, and that's going to take like a week, assuming we can drop everything else we're working on. And that's just to tell them where they are right now, not where they are looking forward. So it's absolutely essential to our clients that we are connected to the cloud. For us, the benefits of it are flexibility. We can work from anywhere. We can save so much time. We don't have to commute out to our clients' offices. We can have these conversations like we've been using Zoom for years. We can have these conversations over Zoom whenever they want. Just like as if they were walking over to their colleague's desk, they can pull us into a project where they're working on. That means we can go to their board meetings and be like really actively engaged in their business. So, and yeah, that's a benefit to us. So the other reason, like we generate a lot more work. The more engaged we are in their business, the more work we can create for ourselves, because we can see that we know this stuff, we can do this stuff, and they flag that they're having a problem where the profitability is going down, and we help them identify that it's because either they've got more staff in their business than you'd expect for a business their size. We can help them implement something like Harvest, where they can start tracking their time and understanding where their people are spending their time. Or we can help them map out their processes and see where they can get efficiencies in their processes. We can help them look at their organisation structure and see are the right people doing the right roles, or actually could things be shifted around to mean that people are doing more profitable work. So it creates a massive opportunity for us to go and do what accountants like to call the value-added work, and that's sort of work that we really enjoy doing. In terms of our offering to our clients, it's broadened slightly. In the last 12 months, we've brought in, we now work with like the other people we work with. We work with Capitalise, and we have managed to secure quite a lot of funding for our clients to help them buy properties or expand their business. We've also, we were using an app called Chaser before to help our clients get paid faster and make do credit control. And we were doing that before, but we've done gone deeper into that this year. So we're doing that for more clients. We started making payments for our clients. So before we didn't used to do that, but there's technology out there that means we can do that really easily. Doesn't take us too much time, but it's one of those really boring jobs they don't want to be doing themselves. So we've been able to pick that up. What else have we picked up this year? I mean, we do absolutely loads of our clients, but a lot of it we were doing before last year. We've been doing quite a lot of what we call transformation projects. So it's when like a typical size business we're working with, they've usually got like between £1 and £8 million turnover. So they're established, but they are, and they're growing, but they've kind of hitting a plateau in terms of they just don't have the capacity to grow. They don't have the time. Their systems are a bit clunky. Things have evolved and haven't evolved. Maybe the technology hasn't kept pace, or just the way they do things hasn't kept pace. So we've been doing quite a lot of like transformation projects where we come in and work with them and look across their whole business and map everything out how it is now, help them set their goals at where they want to get to, and then actually implement some of the changes, because some of those changes will be technological changes or process changes that we have got project management skills. So we're accountants, but we've also got people in the team that have got project management backgrounds, so we can come in and run those projects for them as well. So, and given that loads of business owners, one of their challenges is lack of time, they've got all the great ideas and they know the bits of their business that aren't working as well as they want them to, but they haven't got the time to dedicate to improve them. We're really well positioned to do that with the project management skills, being close to their business and having the accounting kind of knowledge. We're well placed to do that. So we've done a lot of that this year, but we were already doing that before, but I'd say that's growing this year. A couple of things. So on our internal side, like for us, we've just, I guess, built our own confidence that we absolutely are the best people to be doing this. So we are confidently selling it and getting work. On the client side, I think more businesses are more tech savvy now than they were. I mean, I would say I can't think of any potential client that comes to us and isn't on cloud, but isn't on something like Xero, or isn't using Dext. So most of the business we work with would already be there, and they want to go the next step. So that's just the entry point. So I guess the market is people are more aware of what can be done from them. For them. So I think a combination of both of those things.
Yeah.
We made a really clear decision that we would only work with technology-minded, like clients that would embrace technology, because it just doesn't work for us not to. We can't have that close relationship if they're not using the tech that we need them to use. And also just a mindset thing. If they're not interested in it, we're going to find it really tedious working with clients that we have to drag kicking and screaming along this journey, and there's plenty of businesses that want to be on this journey. So I guess to start with, we're quite selective about who we take on as a client. So if in an initial inquiry meeting, if there was warning signs that they weren't willing to adopt the technology that we recommended, then that would alert us to maybe we're not going to be the best fit for them. Not just because it'd be a pain for us, but also we'd be annoying to them because we'd be trying to push them along a journey they don't want to go on. So yeah, we can kind of filter out at the beginning, right at the beginning before we even take a client on. And then we also keep an eye on it. So if we have a client that says the right things at the start, let's say 3 months in or 6 months in, we're struggling to get them to work in the way we need them to work in, we will exit the relationship. Because there's plenty of businesses that do want to be on this journey. So there's no point forcing someone that doesn't to go on it. That's kind of down to them. So yeah, and we're quite fixed in the tech that we use and the way we work. We're that way because it works for us, because it means that we can work efficiently, but also it means that we can better help our client. If our clients don't use something like Dex, we don't get the insights that we need to give them the best advice. So then they're going to end up feeling, well, you're not that great in accounting because you're not able to tell us what our cash flow forecast is. You promise all these things and you're not delivering them. And we won't be able to deliver them if they don't work in the way we need them to work in. So we're quite strict So if we take in a client and we're doing the bookkeeping, we just automatically use Dex. If they do it themselves, we don't make them use Dex, because if they want to do it slower, they can. But we recommend it, and I don't think we've got a handful that don't use Dex and do it themselves. But if we're doing the bookkeeping, we will use it. I think there are two ways. I think there'll be a bit of a divide in that because technology is out there and it's speeding up and making simplifying a lot of the basic kind of work that we do. There'll be firms out there that will specialise in that and will specialise in turning around separate accounts for 200 quid. So there'll be, and I guess those firms are going to be consolidators. They're going to have a lot of clients to be profitable, so they're going to be buying up other accountancy firms and doing like investing in big marketing to have that volume of business. So there's going to be those types of firms, I expect, and then there'll be the ones that niche, and I think that's what we would say we would do, which like hold in on working with a specific type of client, solving a specific problem. And I think those ones, and like us included, will probably expand our service offering broader. So we'll have a narrow customer set. We'll be solving a narrow problem, but we'll, for example, please say, if when we're speaking to our clients, say we're talking about, but last year there's lots of conversations about furlough. Who should they be furloughing? How much are they going to save by furloughing? Should they just make people redundant? So there's input we can have because we understand furlough and we understand how to make the claims, and we can help them do cash flow forecasting and profit forecasting. But then there comes a point when we need to get a HR person involved because of the legalities around employment law and what it means there. So there's a really close kind of handover point. So I think firms like us would start working closer with, say, HR specialists, so we can offer a rounded service. And the same with marketing. Like so many conversations we'll have with clients will be like where they want to get to, and always a part of that is growth. And there's some aspects of that we can help with, but at some point they need to get a marketing person involved. And there's an overlap. There's a definite overlap, but then the marketing person will go beyond what we can do. So I think, and the same with project management. You know, like traditionally accountants wouldn't have got involved with project management. We are already doing that because there's just natural overlap. So I think there'll be niche firms that can offer a more rounded service to their target clients, and I think there'll be generalist firms that need high volume and leverage the tech to turn around that high volume. Whereas we're leveraging the tech, partly to turn around volume and create efficiencies, but we're also using it to bring insights and offer more to our clients. Yeah, no, I don't know how it's going to pan out for everyone, and I don't even know how it's going to pan out for us, but I'm just aware that that's something that needs to happen, and I think it will happen. And I think some firms are already going there. I've seen some sort of collaborations with accountants and HR firms that have brought them in-house. They do offer that full HR and accountancy support, and I've seen others that have taken on an in-house marketer. I think that's possibly where we would go, is we'd get a marketer inside for doing our own marketing, and we'd also leverage them for offering like a basic level of introductory marketing for clients. I also think kind of the way the world is going is like the traditional organisation has changed. Like people do collaborate across boundaries. So I suspect there'll be a lot more of that, and I suspect that's certainly what we've been doing so far, is we've partnered up with the HR firms. If we have a webinar on something that there's going to be a HR crossover, that's who we'll bring in. And when our clients have got HR problems, we'll bring that person in, but they're not part of our organisation. Our clients benefit because they know they trust us and they trust who we work with, and they can easily tap into the resources they need. But we're not making a profit from that, but we are enhancing our offering to our clients. But I guess at some point it might become more than just a sort of informal collaboration. For us right now, it's so that we're offering better value to our clients. So we make our clients stickier, clients pay us more. They pay us more for what we do for them because they know they can tap into all this other stuff via us. So I think that's sort of not necessarily measurable other than we can charge higher than the average fees for the work we do. And I suppose it again, another unquantifiable that it backs up when we have strategy sessions with our clients and we're talking about their problems and what their plans are, what their next steps are. It's so much more valuable if we can go and hear, like, not just, oh yeah, you need to sort out this part of your business. We can actually go right, and the next step is here, putting you in touch with this person, they'll kick off this project. It kind of, giving more value to our clients. I think in the future, I reckon we can monetize that, because just like we've seen with the project management, clients want that help and they don't know where to turn to. Like, if they want to re-engineer, because of the size of them, they haven't got an in-house IT or project management team to re-engineer all the processes. And who do you go to if you've got a smallish or medium-sized business? Who would you bring in to re-engineer your systems? I just don't think they even know where to start looking. They can go to an IT vendor who will know their own IT, but they won't necessarily from our experience, they don't project manage the whole rollout of it. And I think a lot of businesses don't necessarily think of their accounting as doing this, but once they realise this is something we can do, then it's their natural, we're the natural person to do this, because we're speaking to our clients all the time, we know them, we've got that easy route in. And I think it would be the same with potentially marketing. So I can easily imagine having conversations with clients saying, I want to increase my sales, and us sort of having the initial conversations and going, right, well, let's put you as a marketing person, and she can kick off X, Y, and Z project. I can see us being able to charge money for that. In some ways, it's been quite a hard journey, but in other ways, it's actually the answer is quite simple. One is trust. So everything we do for them, we demonstrate it's done well, and they can rely on us. We do what we say we're going to do, we do it on time. So we just build up the trust of the stuff we are doing for them. And then having the conversation. So we have to think wider. So when we're talking to a client about their accounts, we shouldn't just be talking to them about what profit did you make, what's your cash balance. We can easily start asking questions that are more commercial, and showing a real interest and understanding of business and their business specifically. And if we can, and then we can tune into their challenges. So every business has got a challenge. Every business owner has got a headache that they want to solve. So tuning into that and listening and asking the right questions. I think that's it. So that's why it's quite simple, really. Asking the questions that demonstrates you know what they're going through and you understand the bigger picture. And then I think having the case studies behind you to show, well, we've actually solved this problem for a client, and we can introduce you to them, you can speak to them, or we can talk you through what we've done. But I think just having that knowledge behind you backs you up. So when a client, is having problems, they're like, so many clients we speak to maybe are already using a tool called Harvest to track their time, but they often say, we set it up, we quite like it, it's not quite working, it's not quite configured right. And then we can jump in, because we know it really well, we can jump in talk about how we've managed to help a client transition from being where they are to actually getting really useful information out of it. I guess it's just asking the questions: what are your challenges? What's your goals? What are your next steps? And they'll always say, "Oh, we want to do this, but we don't know how to start, or we haven't got the time to spend on it," or that. Yeah, and then that's quite easy to solve. Well, firstly, goes back to what I said, they work with the right clients, because not every client's going to get it, and there really isn't. I don't think it's not worth trying to drag a client along, because some people's minds just won't be changed, and you might get them to move one step along that journey, but you might need to move them 10 steps along, and it's just going to be a painful process to you. So let them go away and do what they're doing until they come to the realization that they need to be on this journey. So picking who you work with is really important. But for us, niching has been really, really important. Now we've got that wealth of knowledge that gives us the confidence to say that we can do this stuff and to demonstrate we can do this stuff. And I don't think we'd have been able to do that if we were a general practice. We took on any client, because we'd be spread quite thin. But every different industry is going to have different challenges and different tax and accounting quirks and different operational challenges, and we wouldn't be able to be all over them if we were working across a wide range of sectors. Whereas because we just work with agencies, there's common stuff that comes up. There's no one like there's no unique problems that we see. They're all like stuff that we've seen before. It might be slightly different, but the framework and foundations that you put around it to kind of solve the problems they're having and helping these businesses grow, they're pretty standard. So long as you know them and know their business, and niching I think is really important, and it helps understand their challenges, but also helps pick what tech you use. So we don't need to go and learn about stock inventory systems or I don't know, payroll scheduling systems, because our clients don't have those problems. We've got like 10 bits of tech that we use all the time, so we know really well. And given that there's thousands of apps out there, it'd be impossible to be experts in all of them. For us, well, probably sounds like a small one, but for us, Calaroo has been a great one, because it's a tool that lets us make payments on behalf of clients. And that's a problem that we'd wanted to solve for ages, but we just couldn't, because we didn't want to take, previously, to make payments on behalf of clients, you'd have had to have access to their bank accounts, and I didn't want to take on that risk, because then I'd have to have really, like what if one of my team decided to pay themselves some money, like massive risk, or what if we accidentally paid someone £1 million rather than £100? It's just a huge risk I didn't want to take on, whereas Calaroo enables to take on that function with very low risk, because we're making payments, not actually making the payments. All we're doing is creating a file that a system will tell another system to pay, and the owner of the business approves that transaction first. So that's been really big for us, because it's just kind of rounded off the full finance function service that we wanted to offer. I'd love to say management reporting has been like a big thing, but actually I just don't think any of the apps are there yet. So we're kind of still I think they're still all struggling to figure out to get it right. And there's no one tool there that's got the right solution for us anyway. I mean, to be honest, in the last 10 years, Xero has revolutionised everything, and then the app system around Xero is what has just that's totally changed the whole industry. They've been the biggest things. I think the technological change, the big ones have happened. I think now it's iterative improvement. I think there's lots of new apps coming out that can refine specific areas. But I'm not expecting any seismic shift in the tech that is out there or how it works. But I think the changes, the world of accountants catching up and embracing it and embedding it. So the tech's there, and there's been some accountants that have been right at the front of the journey, or the early adopters, and I would say we were an early adopter, but there's now, I'd say a lot more accountants are now using tech that's out there. So we're not in that phase. We're in the phase of the mainstream accountants now getting on the bandwagon. And I think that will be a shift in that a lot of firms that rely on saying, oh, I'm a Xero accountant, come work with me. I'm a digital accountant, work with me. It's not a marketing point anymore. It's just that's the norm. There's a few that won't be using tech, but that genuinely think they're going to be retiring or shutting down in the not too distant future. So I think there'll be a bit of everyone's going to be the bandwagon. So we're all going to have to figure out, well, how do we differentiate now if it's not on tech? And that's why I think there'll be niching and sort of mass market accountants. And I think there'll be quite a lot of consolidation in the industry because of that. I think there'll be a lot of firms looking to just get big quite quickly by acquiring other firms.